Well, this Sunday morning at Solid Rock Bible Church, we are finishing up our series on the book of John. We started this way back in January 5, back when our world looked a little different than what it does now, back when kids were still in school, colleges were still open, back if you had a job, you were probably in an office, back when you could get a package from Amazon the very next day. I ordered something last week from Amazon. It's going to take a month to get here. Our world is upside down. And in John chapter 21, the disciples were facing that same kind of bewilderment, that same kind of confusion. And it says they go out to fish, but they catch nothing all night long. These professional fishermen catch nothing. And in the morning, it says that Jesus stands in the shore and calls out to them, "Friends." We're going to be unpacking this a little bit on Sunday morning. What does this mean? How does this apply to you? But I can't help but think here this morning about those hours that they spent on that boat catching nothing. I can't help but think that Jesus, who has control of the elements, who has control over the fish, that morning he says to throw your net on the other side of the boat, and they hauled in 153 fish. I can't help but think that Jesus, who has control over the fish, didn't do something that night miraculous. That he didn't cause them to not catch something for the purpose of tuning their heart, tuning their mind to hear his very words in their life. You see that next morning, he calls out to them and he changes the course of their life. Start fishing for men. Feed my fish, Peter. Feed my lambs, disciples. And he does something in them that changes the rest of their life. And I can't help but think where we are right here, right now, in our day of this COVID-19 quarantine, that God isn't doing something amazing as well. Even in the midst of the destruction, even in the midst of the chaos, in the midst of you being furloughed, in the midst of you being laid off, in the midst of even the deaths around us, that God is tuning our heart, tuning our mind to hear him do something extraordinary. Throw your net on the other side of the boat, he says to the disciples. I am wondering if at the end of this, God is going to be doing something, because he is in the process right now of allowing us to hear those words from him. Hey, friend, do this. Excited to hear that because of this time in our lives, that some of you will be called into full-time service. Some of you will be called into full-time missions work. That some of you will be called into the medical field because of compassion for the lost, compassion for those who are hurting. I want you to take a moment right now to thank Jesus even for the turmoil of this day, like those disciples on that boat, that we would thank Jesus for tuning our hearts and minds, and to praise him for what he is about to do in these coming months and these coming years, of using this time right now to bring us closer to him, using this time right now to launch us into his purpose in our living. I invite you to come Sunday morning, hear more about John chapter 21 as we wrap up this amazing book in the Gospel of John.